We're the Unlinked Standup.
Okay.
And this is us. So Brad Hutchings right here. Lewis. Yep.
Soumen.
We are the Unlinked Standup. I want to pitch something before we get started. Oh man, I'm doing blinking light. Soumen or Lou, you talk for a second. I'm going to go fix the blinking light. Sorry about this. Give me 1 second here because that's annoying.
All right.
Yeah, Luis, you go ahead.
I'll just start, I guess, mentioning stuff that you talked about recently over the past week, which kind of motivated what I'm going to talk about this week, which is like the math being solved by AI and like programming being automated all the way, etc. So that's what's motivating my stuff this week. Just putting that out there.
Soumen, what are you up to?
Yeah, same. Like I don't mind. Like two different voices talking on the same topic. So for mine is also the same thing. Though I'm not going to reveal, like what will be my line of talk. But yeah, like it's basically the same topic, and it's very interesting topic. So as we progress today, like we'll see why it is interesting. So it's good, very good topic. Yeah.
Awesome. I went to Saturday night. I went to a birthday party for my next door neighbor's 5-year-old daughter. And they are a large Hispanic family. And I'm going to say they're like, those are the best families. Absolutely the best families. It was the greatest get together. I don't speak a word of Spanish and I had a great time. And of course I ate great food. And if you follow me on Instagram, you got to see what I was eating and what I was drinking, and one Pacifico and one Corona and 5 tacos, and I was done.
Oh, good.
So that was cool. What do you bring a 5-year-old? Well, I don't know what toys they all like and stuff like that. Somebody's making a whole bunch of noise here.
Give me 1 second. That might be me.
Yeah, no worries. So what did I bring for a gift? Well, I actually used the Mojo server and I made a story about the girl. Her name was Ova, although, well, it still is Ova, although the pronunciation my neighbor Gabriel gave me, it sounded like Oba, OBA. So I misspelled her name, but I did write her a story. I was over there the other night having a beer and a rat ran across the porch and she saw the rat. And so I made a story about the rat. And the point of the rat is that he was setting up for this birthday party and setting up for his family to join. And so I made a story about that with her and her cousins and her siblings. And it was a long story that I intended her dad or her grandfather to read to her in both English and Spanish. And then I made a shorter kindergarten-friendly version of the story. By the way, this is AI, local private AI doing all this for me in both English and Spanish that she could read with her dad or grandfather. So that's what I did. I rolled it up in a scroll. I was going to print that and have that for you, but I got caught up this morning in just show production issues, so I don't have that. But that was the highlight of my weekend. So we're going to move on to our topics, our prepared topics. Lou, you're going to go first. And I'm going to find your banner. Oh, what happened there? There you go. You ready to go, Lou? Lou is frozen. Tell you what, Soumen, you are first.
Okay, sure. So like basically people who are watching or people who will be watching later on, we discuss our chosen topic, and we are constantly thinking on these turbulent times, which I referred to Brad earlier as AI vortex. So, which is like which is interesting, good or bad aside, which is very interesting. So, over the weekend I went to Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, for my health maintenance, for our joint health maintenance, me and my wife. That's because we have been in Bay Area for 27 years, and it's very difficult to get rid of the healthcare inertia, the setup that has happened. after we moved to Sacramento in 2023. So we are hoping that by 2028, by 5 years, all the things we can manage here, except very few. So anyway, so we went to the San Francisco Bay Area, the so-called Silicon Valley, and basically the place is inundated with data centers and AI advertisement and all those things. So if you go to that place, it's very difficult to be not to be aware of the AI vortex, the turbulent times that is happening nowadays. So and then in my news, like things keep popping. Uh, so I had one news where this respected mathematician Ken Ono, he has put a pause in his mathematics career and has joined a AI startup called Axiom Math. So they are making a lot of claims, and one of the claims is that they are able to basically uh, create proofs and formally verify proofs, and they did basically did that thing with a theorem called 246 theorem, and then Ken Ono, being a startup founder, Axiom Math, extended that achievement to potential for basically creating and verifying software. So creating and verifying software in a fully or mostly automated manner is something that will be paradigm shifting, because if we see the software history since late 1960s, when I was born, till today, it is basically something of an unmanageable beast. And I I made this reference in two long appearances that I appeared in Break It Down So Bids podcast, and I still feel that software is still somewhat very unmanageable. So if Ken Ono, a respected mathematician, now a startup man in Axiom Math, is making the claim that this will be extending from math proofs and creation and verification, it will extend to software. That is something we should discuss. So one starting point for the discussion is basically try to parse what is happening with spec engineering. So spec engineering is basically an offshoot of a large language model. So the as soon as large language model burst into the scene in late 2022 or early 2023, people quickly understood that if they do prompting, they can generate code. Later on, it was understood that no, just not just simple prompt. If you can give the large language models something like something like like a 5-page, 7-page structured specification, then maybe it will generate the whole project. So that's what is basically going on in spec engineering. And in spec engineering, what has happened is that because of spec engineering, before people used to code, now people are mostly doing speccing. So what's happening is that the level of theoretical sophistication these speckers, not coders, they need to have, it has risen. For example, can spec theoretically basically give us a functional and reliable code or safe code? Can it theoretically do that? The answer is no. It's because of Rice theorem. Now, maybe this stand-up, it's not enough to discuss why Rice theorem prevents spec nirvana. But yeah, maybe I'll stop there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're kind of entering this territory with vibe coding where my 3-part test applies. Can we? Should we? May we? And we're stuck on can we? And we're asserting that we can do these things that, theoretical computer science tells us we can't do. And it's one of those things that's really hard to watch. I sure would hope that people who are going down this path would, call up a computer scientist, maybe at their local university, and say, I understand you guys have thought about this for 80 years. Can we do this? But you can't if you don't try. That's the philosophy of the tech industry. So we're definitely going to try this, and people are going to fail, and they're going to waste a lot of money. and eventually maybe we'll get back to how we used to code, which was people were responsible for the code they put in things. So hoping that happens someday.
Yeah, like in my past two Bits appearance, again, thanks to Brad and Pete for that, I basically definitely made the point that software is not engineering. It is opinionated technical writing. So technical for coding writing. So it's opinionated. So like since late 1960s, softwares had delivered wonders, but it has not delivered guarantees. It did deliver wonders. Nobody can deny that. Like we have around 50 years of history on that software. What all it did, but it never delivered guarantees. So now if we are entering this high octane era of software, fueled by generative coding and all kinds of high expectation, we still have to, even today, you can still confidently say it won't deliver guarantees. So now, you think, what's going on. In one hand, you have this high octane situation with generative AI and spec driven engineering. And on another hand, still even today, or even any future, you won't have any guarantees because of theoretical computer science. So then we just practice and need to balance and see what's going on.
Yeah, I think there's I hate that streaming thing with this only happens with StreamYard. I'm investigating that. And it only happens with me. It happens on the Break It Down show too. I hate that. But I do know how to just wait it out and continue going. Anyway, spec-driven engineering. It seems it's been everybody's dream since whenever, because for whatever reason, people who get into technology like to write specs and don't like to do the work. And then everybody can write specs. And what we used to do is we used to hand those specs off to the people in India who were, basically pennies on the dollar, and they would implement it, and we would be upset that they didn't implement it right. And then we would beat ourselves up over our ability to write specs. And after we beat ourselves up and wrote better specs, they still didn't deliver what we wanted because we didn't write good specs. And that's kind of how that went. Lou, welcome back. You're going to be up next, and we're just finishing with Soumen's point here. But I agree, that's a huge thing to think about, Soumen, which is, what are we pretending that we can do that we can't do? Endemic in our industry.
Yeah.
Lou, you're up. Tell us your topic and lay it out for us.
All right. So I'm basing my stuff off of just the idea of AI, coming in, replacing us, and taking away our, first of all, our personal identity, giving us an identity crisis. And the second thing is AI giving us a existential crisis. So are you able to see my screen here for a sec?
Almost.
Okay. So these are like a very basic 5-category system of capacities, I call them, that I've defined for like humans that kind of just naturally exist. So these are the things I think we're taking and trying to build into machines, right? So these things naturally occur within us. We don't build those things; they just come about. The aperture part is our ability to become aware, pay attention, receive information, and focus on it. So, we have all these senses, but we're not particularly paying attention to all of the information that we're receiving at all the time. So we have to be choosy with what we want to focus on. The discernment aspect, this is where I think intelligence comes in, and this is most of what we've been trying to build into machines, being able to understand, interpret, pretty much use our intellect in order to be able to solve a problem, propose maybe the definition of the problem, and then among the solutions that come about, maybe find the optimal one. Then these other ones are things that we don't yet have in machines, but I can see people starting to want to put them into machines. So this hard part, the affective, our capacity to care, love, like those really deep emotional things, that's part of, like, once again, it's just naturally things that are a part of the human being. I'm not going to go into the rest of these for now, but essentially Like these are things that I think humans should focus on developing and cultivating in themselves, and not necessarily wanting to externalize and put out into the machinery or the robotics that people are trying to put in.
Well, we're certainly not ready yet if we don't have them in ourselves. And I can tell you in this industry, we don't have any of those in ourselves. It's
Right. Yeah. So essentially, I want people to start thinking about themselves differently, about each other differently, and then once you have that in place, then you can start building what you think should come about into the world. I'll stop right there. Don't want to get too preachy, but essentially that's what I've been thinking about.
Yeah, I have something to add there. Like this is really beautiful what Lou said, and I just want to add my part. So as a software practitioner, and I would say I would call myself wannabe like desirous software practitioner. For almost beginning of my career, after I landed in Silicon Valley, I have been following stalwarts, and one of the stalwarts is Phil Katz, basically the early software pioneer, the creator of WinZip, and there's such a beautiful and free program, the data compression. So he even founded a company. He made a lot of money. The company made a lot of money. But still, the things that Lou pointed out, those things, to some extent basically gave first rise and then fall of Phil Katz. And there is a Wall Street Journal. Even today, I was looking at it because I'm mesmerized by his career and the rise and the fall of Phil Katz, and in such a big deal in software, and just a free solo kind of software, and just one man machine. And that rise and then there is a rise and fall associated with Phil Katz. And same thing, like, to some extent, it can be said that it is also there to some extent with Bill Gates. So these points that Lou has pointed out is they require deep consideration in terms of like what is missing. Because Brad, you quickly said that these things are missing, and what is the effect of that? So yeah, I think it's a very beautiful point made by Lou.
So Lou, in the heart one, you mentioned the affective, and I don't know if you've watched me and Pete on Break It Down show, which you're going to appear on this Friday. But Pete Turner, hi Pete, Uncle Pete has spent the better part of 2 years trying to teach me about affect, which is the emotional response that things cause people. And it's like I always knew about effect versus effect, right? Noun versus verb, but affect as a noun is a very, very interesting concept, and I sort of missed it for 53 and change years until Pete came along and said, "You got to be thinking about your affect, buddy." I'm like, okay, so we're going to definitely be talking about that on Friday on Break It Down show. Can't wait. Yeah, my topic for today for Unlinked Stand-Up is a friend of mine. He's in Nigeria. He's a professor of business. His name is H.J. Johnson. If you follow him on LinkedIn or you're connected with him, or he likes to just be called Johnson. And that's pretty cool. He had this post today. It was an article. And it was an article about Nintendo game support 30 some odd years ago. Back in the day, you used to be able to call up Nintendo support and ask them for help getting through a game. And it was absolutely brilliant. And what was brilliant about it, which he didn't mention in the article, but like clicked with me almost immediately 3 paragraphs in, is these guys set up tech support. Okay, it's basically a cost center of their whole model, and people would call in, and I remember systems like this. I never used a Nintendo one, but I remember these being very, very common. Is you'd call for help and you'd sit in a phone queue, and you might sit in the phone queue for an hour until somebody was able to take care of you, and you did it because you wanted some help with something. and they would help you. And then as part of their help, they would offer you things that you could buy. And you sat there and waited for an hour in order to be sold to. And you waited, like, you as a customer, you waited patiently and willingly in order to be sold to. Where did we lose this? This is, now tech support is a cost center. Nobody even thinks about it as a revenue center. And it should be, set up so that, yeah, you've got somebody who's really qualified to buy because they waited 60 minutes to talk to you. I mean, that's amazing. Like, that's why we have lines, for the new iPhone. I mean, that's intentional. That's not just they set up the lines. They wanted the lines. It shows that there's demand. It gets anticipation when you finally get to the front of the line. That interaction is well planned out by Apple. They could have moved all those lines beforehand. It's just same like with a Nike shoe drop, right? It's important that people show up early and get in line and wait for a couple hours in order to get the new Jordans or the new Dunks if you were into collecting those. And people did. And you meet people and it becomes this big social thing, like waiting to buy something. And guess what? You leave with another pair of Dunks, or you leave with another pair of Jordans, or you went and got Jordans and you leave with a pair of Dunks. You went and got Dunks and you leave with a pair of Jordans, in addition to what you were there for. And, the Apple experience was the same way. And Nintendo set this up. And I just thought, hey guys, we need to be thinking about this again. We all think support's a pain in the ass. Let's outsource it to the Philippines, or let's have AI do it, or whatever else. And, no, this is an opportunity to sell to your willing customers. Like, get them on the phone and talk to them. Can't believe we're not doing this anymore. Anyone got anything to say?
Yeah, as I said, over the weekend we were in Silicon Valley, and it's very difficult to avoid discussions about Silicon Valley. Given our 27 years of experience, living experience in Silicon Valley. So as I was driving, right, I commented that, Tim Cook is on his way out, and my wife asked, and this I commented as we are entering Cupertino, taking the exit, Diane's exit, and doing left-hand turn. So at that time, Tim Cook is out. I just commented Tim Cook is out of Apple. And then what is the date? My wife asked, September 1st. So this particular discussion, right? I feel that, Tim Cook didn't do much, what you just said. Of course, he ran the company, but this thing that you said, this, and I stopped being an Apple customer, I think after Steve Jobs died, and because a little bit after that, because I saw the direction it was going on. And I don't want to be a part of Apple's volume business. If the magic is gone, I'm out. And actually, the basic functionality, the good functionality, I would say, with AI, is very much available in Google Pixel. Why would I go and pay for an overpriced Apple device when the magic is pretty much not there? And for that, you need visions and creators, not operators like Tim Cook.
So I will tell you something, because I make appliances. Mm-hmm. This Mac Mini is the easiest device to make a high-performing appliance with, bar none. There are others that are available, that are more available than the Mac Mini. I mean, backlog on this is a month right now. But if I'm making an AI appliance, that is the device that I would choose. And I think it's unfortunate that the RAM crisis has made a mess of that. Otherwise, Tim Cook could be an absolute hero leaving. I think his failure to anticipate a 7-fold increase in RAM prices, plus contracts written out, 18 months, is going to be his legacy. And that's not fair to the guy. Like, nobody could anticipate that. Nobody knew they were going to, the AI companies were going to do this. Louis, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I think the big difference is the past Nintendo company era was people cared and they were connected more to their customers. Now there's just such a big separation between the leaders supposedly and what the people are actually wanting out of the products that they create. So you see the AI stuff right now, right? Sam Altman, Darren Amodei, they're pushing this ideology, thinking that the people are gonna just accept it. But then you have the people who are literally telling them, no, we don't want these AIs to create images based off of stolen copyrighted content and all these other types of issues. So yeah, there's just a big gap right now, and I don't know how to bridge that at this point.
Yeah. Let's see here. I want to conclude with what our plans are the next couple of weeks. So my plan, my plan is webinars. And Soumen and I have talked about a webinar that we're going to do. And this podcast is actually laying the ground for doing some webinars. I want to do them around my product, Mojo Server, which is going to be renamed Mojo Ideate in the coming weeks. There's reasons for that. We'll talk about it later. And the Mojo Ideate for home, which is the appliance version, Mojo Ideate appliance, something like that. Working on the name for it. But we're gonna do webinars, and one of the things I want to pitch to anybody who's watching right now is you're seeing a really, really good stand-up meeting, and you've probably never seen one before because they're intimidating things that nobody wants to show up to. They go on too long and nobody cares. I mean, we're at 27 minutes. It's a little longer than I wanted for this, but it's kind of what it is. And here's what I want to tell you about a stand-up meeting. It is not about leading people. It is not about holding them accountable. It's not about any of those things. It's not about making everyone uncomfortable and spurring people to compete with each other and everything else. It's really about creating leaders. You get your space to talk and present. You get your space to respond. And when you go into a meeting with a customer, well, you know how to lead the customer to a buying decision. That's the point. So I'd like to throw that out there for some final discussion. Soumen, anything you got to say?
I hope that again, software has undoubtedly delivered magic, which is at the core of philosophy of technology, because any sufficiently advanced technology, as per Arthur C. Clarke, is indistinguishable from magic. So that magic, if it stops, technology and software, which is a major part of technology, that's tragic. So I hope that even with this AI acceleration, the magic touch remains, and without lose point, that magic will not be there, because ultimately magic is basically a profoundly human concept.
Yep.
So, and then if those points, those 5 points, if those things are missing in this high octane software or technology automation era, then I'm absolutely sure it will not be there. The magic will not be there.
Lou,
Magics are created by humans and delivered by humans.
What do you got, Lou, to finish off?
Yeah, I think it's good talking between people that have the openness to admit certain parts of our humanity. It's hard to sometimes get a conversation going when the person has an ideology where it's very anti-human. They just want to say, oh, being this meat bag is really terrible, and I want to escape this condition, take my brain, put it onto a computer, and become a robot flying through space. So when we can talk about things in a little more calm down fashion and open up to each other, I think that's better.
Awesome. Lou and I are going to be back Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Soumen, you're skipping Thursdays, I think, which is okay. We're probably looking for a third wheel for Thursday. So if you think you would do great in an environment like this and share your thoughts and whatever, why don't you drop me a note on LinkedIn and we'll get you on here. Anybody else have anything to say?
No, thank you.
All right, then I'm going to leave you guys with the Centaur from inspired by last show. Lou will probably find something he wants to draw for our next show. And we'll talk to you soon. Be good.
Thanks again. Bye.
Darn it. We have an outro. I just want to end the stream. There we go.